We should be live. Perfect. What's going on, champs? Hope you guys doing well. Happy Tuesday. It is Eid tomorrow, so Eid Mubarak to all you guys out there who are celebrating Eid tomorrow. If you're celebrating on Thursday, Eid Mubarak, doesn't really matter entirely, but you know, it's been an interesting one with crypto and the whole thing, the whole market as a whole. So do want to appreciate you guys actually, jumping on here. So smash up the likes, hit the subscribe button if you're new to here as well, and let's get cracking as well. So and drop in your comments, whatnot. What I'll do is I'll talk about BTC, Ethereum, dollar index, a bit of traditional markets, just briefly touching base on it as well, and we'll also do INJ. I'm looking for a long on that. I'm not in a long itself. I'm in spot buys on that for a little while at $5.80-ish. When we had a dip recently as well, but I'm looking to actually leverage trade this one as well. So I've got my spot bags. I'm gonna play it up there. Could it go lower? That's a whole different story there. Anyway, so let's get cracking there. What's going on? We've got Joel in the house. How you doing, brother? It's been a while, man. I hope you're keeping well on this fine Tuesday evening. So dollar index, we get cracking on this one. So what we got here, quite simply, just make it nice and simple. Still in January's high, January's low. This is the mid-range itself, below the yearly open itself, and this is the weekly range. So I just want you to focus on this little area here first, just for one moment there. Clearly we're below the yearly open, below the January's mid-range. This looks like a deviation of the January's mid-range, looking to potentially go into the range low and looking for these lows over here. We'll work on that low, level to level itself. But what I want you to pay attention to is literally this range over here. So I'm just gonna highlight this and delete everything off in just a second there. So we've got the mid-range. As you can see, all it is that we had the consolidation here with the stop run, resistance, come back down for liquidity, take out the liquidity, and we come back down. It's like a retest looking to break down. Once we lose this low, I think this is it. Take out these lows over here and potentially these lows there, and then we'll figure out what it is as well. Once we take out this low here, basically that's the new low of the year, so it gets a little bit more interesting to see what happens going on. Because one thing you need to remember, right, is dollar index, the relationship with dollar index with the stock markets and crypto, really generally speaking as well. So if dollar index goes up, SPX, which is the US 500, that will go down, and you will see what currency will also go down, and generally crypto will follow to go down. Crypto's got his mind of his own thing at the moment, right? So it is what it is. It doesn't really matter, but that's the general rule of thumb. So if dollar index starts to go down, then SPX goes up. Currency goes up, like Euro USD, AUD USD, GBP USD, anything against the dollar, that will go up, and crypto generally goes up. So we're looking for, if we take out these lows there, generally speaking, these three over here, crypto, SPX, and the currency, will have a full-blown push up into the market itself, traditionally speaking. So how do we work this out level to level? What do we have here? Bring up our levels there. I mean, we're below the weekly open, the weekly range itself. We're below the yearly open, so it's all leaning on the bearish sides. It looks like we've done a deviation of the mid-range itself, our January's mid-range. We're looking to come back into range low. What happens next? Do we find support? I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. If we find support, we'll play it back in towards the mid-range, the yearly open. If we lose this level there, take out this take out these lows, find resistance. We're going to come down to 100.4, and we'll work it out from there. There's time. If it is going to go there. Generally speaking, if I let me bring up Google and look the dollar US, that. Basically what this is the dollar index futures tendency, the seasonality, how they actually tend to work as well. So strictly speaking, this is like data of the last 20 years from January 1990 to December 2009. So generally speaking, January is actually quite bullish, February is bullish, March is, you make a double top over here, and then come into April, start making lows, May lows, then June gets a bounce, but then it makes a lower high, lows in July, consolidation in August, lows in September, October we have a push up like a double top, and then sell off in December. So we are in May. No, we're not. We're in June. My mistake. We're in June. So in June, so if we just focus on this little area here, right? I want you to focus on that, and all it is, June has a push up, makes a lower low, lower high, lower low, right? And he bounces off there. So that's what we're looking for. So from the open itself, that's a key thing, looking at the monthly open. But Generally speaking, June tends to be a bit of an iffy type of month itself, but we're looking for, you know, a breakdown in the new month coming up on next week, Monday. So that'll be the new month, the new start of the month. So that's what the seasonal tendency going into July. We can expect a push up once we get below the monthly open. Then we can get a push down, and then we go for new lows. Potentially speaking, we don't know how much of that is true, but you can see January's low to January's high itself. We do a deviation of January's range, back down to January's low itself, pushes up towards around the mid range, comes back as support, gets underneath it, resistance, breaks down from this area, resistance, confirmation of resistance, and off it goes. That's pretty much the the rule of thumb, in terms of tendency. So that's that. Going back to dollar index there. So we're coming into where is actually the freaking monthly open? That's a good point. Monthly open somewhere at the top around here. So we're below the monthly open. It's a bearish month. If I drop it to the monthly, hide all this stuff there. You can see it's a bearish month itself. There's liquidity, granted there's liquidity over here, and there's also liquidity over here. Which one is going to happen? I don't know. Draw the mid range. Find resistance over here, breaks down. We're looking for liquidity over here, which could happen next month. Don't know. We'll see. But anyway, excuse me. Go to the weekly. All right, back to our levels. Actually, just drop it down to a daily. What's happening right now? We can see Monday's range. I want you to focus on a few things. So number one, I want you to focus on this order block right here. This is the last down candle that sent the market back up. All right, so on the higher time frame, it's support. I can agree with that. That's the last down candle there. Push up to there. Take out the January highs. Come back down. There's a deviation below the January's low itself, but holds within the block itself. Find support, pushes up. Find support. We're finding support. It is a support. I agree with that. However, let's start ruling it down and see what's going on there. So essentially, we're looking for like targets over here and these lows over here. Now, what's so special about this low? This is last week's low, and that's last week's high. So if I were to draw a range, right, just for argument's sake there. That's last week's low, last week's high. Draw a range itself. Put that as black. Oopsie daisy. And I've also got Monday's range there to keep things separately. Where are we right now? So let's just focus on this area and drop it down to the 4. Okay, let's do 1. That's last week's low, last week's high, and last week's mid-range. That's what it is, okay? As you can see, right, yes, granted there is a gap in the market over here. It doesn't need to be filled out, not necessarily straight away. It can be filled out whenever it wants to, whether it wants to be filled out next month, next week, tomorrow, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but that's none of our concern at the moment because we are below the mid-range. What I'm looking for is a continuation of the bearish market structure. See, you've got lows over here, low to mid, mid to high, high back to mid, and then now we're looking for mid back to low. That's what we're looking for. Just ping pong the shit out of it until it gives up. Now, I'm completely wrong on dollar index if we actually reclaim Monday's low. Monday's low is over here. Where's Monday's low? That's Monday's low. Yeah. Tuesday, yeah. So Monday's low is over here. Let me mark this out. That's Monday's low. And that's like, I think that's like Monday's high over here. We reclaim Monday's low and hold above it. That means bullish on the dollar, going towards Monday's high, filling out that gap itself. And if we hold above it, then I'm saying, yep, let's take out the liquidity of last week's high. Then the question is, do we actually break out and continue higher, or do we actually do a deviation, come back down, break down, play back into the mid-range? From the mid-range, what I'm essentially looking is playing it back down to the liquidity. Then what we've done, we take out this liquidity, and it's this liquidity next. Just a liquidity game. That's all it is. Now, I'm leaning on the bearish side right now on dollar index as well, mainly because like I've been playing SPX on scalping, and I've been longing the shit out of SPX, and it's been actually quite a lot of fun. I mean, today was a pretty spectacular trade as well. So I've exited all the SPX long itself. More focus about this at the moment as well. We can see we're below the mid-range, right? We come up there, find resistance, really and truly. This will give us added confluence. Final confirmation is losing this low here. Let me mark this out. You see this low over here? Once we lose that, because that's what's holding support, right? Well, once we come back down over here and lose that level there, that's your confirmation to say what? We're going to come into here, target 1, and then looking for target 2, which is range low. And that's all it is. And if that happens, well, we'll see what happens if we actually do a deviation, step back in, play it back towards the mid-range, or is it going to be a continuation for lower prices, and we do something like this, break down, have a retest, bearish market structure, continuation, off we go, and then we can finally take out these, you know, possibly making loads of the years pretty much as well. But really and truly, if I just highlight that right there and put it on the 4 hours for a second so you guys can see a bit more in depth, what I'll be looking for once we take out this low over here and we are finding resistance underneath this, right, then I'm looking for my next second target will be around here, tertiary targets over here, and then we'll look for the lows right over here, these areas there. You see, it's like a double bottom right there. Right over here, it's like a double bottom. You can call it a triple bottom with that as well. There's liquidity resting there. So level to level, and potentially level of these areas there, and then we'll see what happens. That's what I'm leaning on there. I'm wrong if we reclaim the mid-range and we get into Monday's range. Then we're looking for longs on currency pairs itself, really. But I'm Biggie, what's going on there? Good to have you there, man. Nice to have you here, man. Appreciate you, brother. SPX. Now, SPX has been on a rampage recently, right? So let me bring up the ES level there. Okay, so what we've got here, quite simply to put it in there, nothing's really changed as well from the last time we talked as well, is literally the 2021's range high, mid-range, and range low. So you see how we can plan from the low to the mid, mid back to low, low back to mid, done the deviation back to low, done the deviation back to mid. So you ping pong it within this area here, and then once you break above it, you're looking for the next set of areas, target, target, target. Above the mid range, you're playing between these areas there. You can break this down between the mid range and the 75% of the range, and we're just stuck in this area here. That's all it is right now. So there's nothing too much to say. We've had a massive push up. We've got a gap in the market there as well. Pretty spectacular. I'm skeptical of it going back down. I'm like, I wouldn't mind a pull back into this area there, come back to the mid range, hold above it, bullish price action. Then I'm like, yeah, confirmation up to here. And then we're looking potentially taking out these highs and making 2021's range high itself. What happens at 4,800? I don't know. So if we do go up high on stocks, you can be sure that crypto tends to follow its path on the way up there. So it is looking bullish, but lower prices. If I drop it down to the daily, we are at resistance. So the day trade that I did take with Brule, shout out to Brule as well. She's in the chat. Well, not with Brule as well, but DCC knows exactly what I'm talking about. But the trade itself, in terms of like the scalp trade itself, I'm out of the trade. I'm completely out of the trade. Just to give you a heads up, guys. Let me just get my level back up. This is a breaker itself. So we find resistance, get back up, hold above it, resistance, resistance. So I'm out of the trade. Completely out of the trade itself. I took major profits over here and I cut the rest over here. And that's it. I'm done. So now all I'm looking for now is to see what happens. I can always get back in. If it breaks down, right, then I know this can easily go back to where? To this area here. And then we'll see what happens. And then dollar index should be pushing up. But for me to go for higher prices, really, I want to see us reclaim above this blue box there. Bullish price action. Then I can say, yeah, target, target, target. And let's make new highs then. Highs of the years. We're continuously making highs of the years. And that's the interesting thing as well. How was that, Brule? Did you make some massive gains from that? Because I'm not going to lie to you. That was a sweet trade there. That was a really sweet trade. And then I was thinking to myself, if I'm making this, this trade is quite explosive itself, is it really worth taking the evening trade? I'm like, I want to. I really want to. But sometimes you've just got to take it easy as well. Because I'm in a BTC trade at the same time. So we'll see how that all goes. But that's pretty much it with the stocks itself. Bullish above this blue box there, bearish underneath the box itself. Nothing else too crazy. Keep it nice and simple. On the weekly, what's going on? Are we taking out liquidity? Let's have a look. Yeah, we're taking out last week's low. So I'm leaning to the side of, well, if we're taking out last week's low, what's the next liquidity? Last week's high. So that's what I'm leaning towards to. After that, we'll see what happens there. We're approaching the mid-range. I think this is around the mid-range. So a bit of a chop there. Tomorrow will give us a good entry to get back up, play for these longs, take out these highs and potentially these highs and make new highs of the year. Providing dollar index does our plan that it goes down lower. That's all we're looking for. Dollar index to go down lower. Happy days. If it doesn't, well then we'll fucking play it. Either way, you know how it is. So that's pretty much it with SPX and dollar, and that's out of the way. Let's go straight into Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin. Let me get this chart. Where is it? This is the one. Okay. Now Bitcoin, there's a few things that I want you to actually focus on. Actually, you know what? So let's bring this up. BTC USD on the index chart. All right. Fuck. Let me delete that. Delete that. Cool. Now Bitcoin is pretty strong. Say what you want to say. Bitcoin is pretty strong. We've got news coming out like with the whole Hong Kong and HSBC. They're looking to put about, I think, $1 trillion or some shit like that. I'm not too sure. I did see that Watchers Guru. I probably will find that right here actually. Not Emma Watson. Watchers Guru. I think I saw something like that. Don't quote me on this. I'm going to confirm this. Oh, yeah. Justin, $4.2 trillion asset manager Fidelity file for spot on Bitcoin ETF. That's pretty freaking interesting there. The question is, how far does this go? Does this actually rally the market up? The last time I did see it was not a ETF, but a futures on crypto was back in 2017, and that was the peak of 2017. Then we thought it was bullish back in those days. You know, you can those who were with me back in 2017, 2018 know what I'm talking about. We thought it was going to be one of those ones where, yeah, now like, you know, the futures are getting involved. It's going to be a long, but nah, man, we got bent over badly. Like when I said badly, like it hurts. It still hurts from that. You know, when I think about it, I was like, shit, man. I made money in 2017. I lost it all in 2018. But that's part of learning, and that's how it is. Which goes to another tweet in just a moment. We'll talk about. That's the one I was wanting to mention there. Touche, my man. It's been a while. How you doing, brother? Good to have you there. Non-fungible Tony. Good to have you there. Joel hasn't gone to bed yet. Nah. He's still hanging around. It's late for him though in Thailand. Isn't that like early morning or some shit like that? Fucking hell, bro. What a fucking legend. So yeah, Justin, HSBC, one of the largest banks in the world, warns a US recession this year. Fucking hell. That's really tense. So if a US recession comes in this year, then we'll figure it out when the time comes in. I'm not ruling out the idea of a recession. I'm not ruling that out. I'm just looking at strictly price action in terms of what crypto is saying as well. So if crypto is looking bullish, it's looking bullish. Level to level, looking for liquidity. That's all I'm playing it as. So I want to drop it down to this before I even talk about the April's high. There was a chart. Let me find that chart, and I can explain that to you what I'm talking about. Not this one. So I've got too much shit here, right? I mean, it's all part of for me anyway, but here you go. That's it. So I want you to pay attention to this. I did do a tweet about this the other day, and I can't be asked to find it, to be honest. Well, so I'm just going to talk about it myself instead. So we got the 2021 range low, first quarter range low. That's the mid range, and that's the range high. And as you can see, right, I think no one can really argue with this, that range bound environment is pretty spectacular. You got the low over here, got the high over here, ran the highs, we come back down, we find support at the yearly open, and instead what we've done, we've ran the highs again, done a deviation, come back to the mid range. You see the mid range is all support, resistance, support over here, support, deviation, support comes underneath it, resistance, deviates it back down to the range. So what I'm trying to say to you, I know that's a whole long process there, but for about a year and a half, we're talking about 18 months, price of Bitcoin consolidating here. So that's going to have naturally an automatic effect of actually of a range itself, which has got to be respected. Now, if that's got to be respected, what we're looking for is a reclaim of these highs. Any reclaim and push up above here, I think it becomes undeniable that many people can't disagree that this will then become a target. This will become an easy target over here, and then we hold above it, looking for 44k, potentially these swing highs there. There are double tops there. I'm interested in seeing what happens, but from a range bound perspective, I do know 44.4k will be the key targets. I'll be taking profits, and then we'll see what happens if we run these highs over here, for example, and then break down. If it breaks down, I'm quite happy for that as well, to play back down level to level over here, and that to me is a pre-halving rally, and then we dump down for whatever the time of the year is, and then freaking halving. Bitcoin halving happens in April 2024, which is about 10 months away. And I was saying to the guys in the DCC that in 9 months, right, like a baby can be born, right? And I'm not trying to hint that I'm having a baby. No, fuck no. I'm happy where I am. But what do you call it? Like, but 9 months is not a long time. It's not a long time. If you think about it, we're halfway through the year. We're literally we're over halfway through the year. We're coming to July. Like, Eid is coming up again tomorrow. Like, bruv, I swear Eid was like yesterday. What's going on? Christmas is around the corner. Hanukkah is gonna be there. So Diwali is just gonna be around the corner. Fucking hell, man, it's getting mad. What's going on, man? How you doing, brother? Good to have you here, brother. But yeah, it's time goes quick. So my point really is in terms of like when it comes to alts itself, it's like I've said this before. Whoopsie daisy. Let me delete this and I'll tell you what one in it. I've said this like back in January itself. Let me bring up my Twitter and I'll show you there. Where was it? A bit lower. Yeah, right here. Back in January 2020, right, I talked about this, right? Remember, scooping altcoins during this year will increase your probability of getting those 100x. Those coming in 2024 are looking to buy, will believe it's 100x, but by then, you've already bought into to altcoin. Let's say like Inch. I never bought in a $1, $2, $3, $4. I didn't buy into it. I wish I did. However, I need to look for an opportunity itself. And I'm okay with holding on to it. If it does go to $3, I'm okay with it. I'm absolutely okay with it. It's not like I'm not gonna have any FOMO. Was it FOMO? What's it called? FUD or whatever. The dumping or whatever. I won't have any of that. I know how this game runs. The last time I played it very differently. I made mistakes. My mistakes was quite simple. I was treating this market as a trade. So buying from the lows, range bounding this whole thing. So I was playing the spot bags very differently, as if it was a trade. In actual fact, what I'm gonna do this time now is just gonna hodl. Some of these these kings on Twitter are prime examples. For example, you got Capo. Shout out to Capo. He's been hodling. He hodls. I'm not saying he's hodling, but I'm saying he hodled through the bear market. Like he played that game really well and made banks. You know what I'm saying? So hats off to him. Wiz is one of those guys who actually hodls really well. He hodls through the whole thing. Sevo is another guy as well. Who else is there? I mean, like I learned from Floki, but that was too late. Floki was at the end. Floki, I bought a 4 million market cap, and it went all the way to 3.5 billion. So you know what I'm saying? Like if I had, and I was just holding on to it, played some banks on there. However, had I played it as a trade, I would have fucked up. And I think a lot of the things I fucked up. But there was one, for example, I'm passing on my own experiences. So take it as you wish. Whether you want to do it or not is entirely up to you. I'm not saying that like this is exactly how you should do it. But I'll give you an example. Let me grab a cigarette at the same time. It's been a while. What was that? Yeah. TVK, Terra Virtua, was one I got into a private sale under a cent. And that went to $1. And did I hodl onto it? No, I didn't. Others did, but I didn't. I made the mistake of selling, and just trying to flip things here and there, back and forth, so many things. There was one I remember. There's a story actually. There's a story. I won't forget this. I'm going to share this with you actually. Like those who were involved in the story know exactly what I'm talking about. There was two in particular. So one of them was trader NJ. Another one was another geezer. It was a lady called Lismo. Now, Sand, I was saying to the guys about this today, actually, in the DCC. Sand, USDT, hit Binance, right? And I bought the peak in it. I bought the peak right over here. I just want you know what happened afterwards. And I bought at the pump over here. I forgot where it was. I believe it wasn't here. It was over here. So this pump over here, let me drop it to the daily. This is my mistake, and I'm sharing this mistake as for you guys to learn from it. It's not to reminisce and laugh about it. I mean, if you want to laugh at it, fuck it, do what you want to do. But I'm giving you an example. So, Sand pumped in it, and there was a Telegram group between me, NJ, and a girl called Lisma, right? And we were just friends. The three of us were just chatting, chilling, talking, and talking about crypto. That's what you tend to do in bull market. You have groups of friends. Or family members or whatever that you actually respect and adhere to their views and opinions. And Lismo was the one who said, buy sand. So I went to Binance. I bought a full bag of sand, man, like a massive bag. When I say massive bag, it was a lot of money for me at the time. It definitely was. I bought I think it was like 10k worth of sand. I bought all that sand right at 10 cents, right? And popped up and whatever, or no, it was pulling back, and as it was pulling back, I'm like, guys, I bought into sand, and they were saying nah, and then I think it was Lisma was they were laughing, they were saying I was joking, because it pumped, she was just making a joke. that this pumped up, and I bought into this pump like a complete dumbass, right? And I sold at 8 cents. So I went from 10 grand to 8 grand very, very quickly. Very quickly on this trade on a spot bag. And next thing is, well, I'll let you do I'll let you see what happened. Next thing is, isn't it? Had I held this, right, and played it correctly from 10 cents to around the peak, let's call it 80 cents, that's an 8x in a matter of about a month and a half, 2 months. That was prime bull run. I made a mistake. 10 grand would have made to 80 grand. Really, really nice, right? Had I carried on holding it through the whole market, as you can see, there was an opportunity in the market as we break out these highs, and as you take out these highs itself, confirmation shows us a deviation itself, but it's showing us higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and then bang, higher highs as well. It was a tremendous high, and the market goes from 10 cents all the way to $8, around $8. So I could have made an 80x. 10 grand would have been 800 grand. Even if I could cut at like 500 grand, still at $5, still didn't really matter as well. That's 500 grand there. Made a mistake, big ass mistake, and that's on my part, and that's what I learned from the hard way as well. Now I'm passing this on to you guys to tell you is that, look, if you're gonna we're gonna do alt sessions. We're gonna do an alt session. I think on Thursday we're gonna do one as well. So I'm gonna look quite regular. So like what I'll do is that I'll get you to comment on some of your alts that you want me to pick and do, and I'll choose like some of mine as well that I'm looking at as well, like Inge, LDC, maybe BNB, Solana probably. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And we talk about alts as a whole. So me personally, I made a mistake, and but not this time. This time I'm down to hold. I'm okay with holding through the market if it pulls back. I bought Inge, for example. I'll show you this. There was a trade actually, which actually showed publicly on Twitter. Where is it? On Twitter, and I will come back to Inge later on in the end of the show to show I think a possible play for bullish scenarios going for $10 itself. I will come back to it in a bit, but I just want to just highlight this as well. There was a play right here, so I think it was in the 4 hours, and what happened was I was looking at this. I was looking at this particular area here, and I was looking for a pullback, a hold above here. Bullish price action. I'm looking for level. Well, I was looking for this level here, potentially this level, and I took profits over here and I cut the whole trade off there. But saying that, I actually placed a spot bag right over here at $5.80. So would it go to $4.50? There was a potential play that I was thinking of. That was potential. However, actually, since I'm on Inge, I might as well do it actually for the sake of the arguments there. However, I didn't do so. But the key thing is zooming out. You've got to zoom out. When you zoom out, you start seeing different things, and then you start to see, well, hang on a second. This was the consolidation right over here. That's where price was consolidating. We broke out of it. The consolidation. Let's do a breakout, retest, expansion. How far does this expansion goes? Does it take out these highs over here? Does it take out these highs over here? We don't know. We'll figure it out there. But there's going to be major resistance, complete major resistance off one particular area here. This area here. That is the key major monthly candle there, which comes in around like, let's say $11, around that area there. So that's going to be a key thing, especially this area here. This there. This is what we call a fair value gap, where the candle, right, there's a gap between, there's no wick over here and there's no wick over here, and that's what we call a fair value gap. And price is addicted to fair value gaps and liquidity. That's an alpha thing that I can always pass on to you. Price is addicted to fair value gap, FVG, and liquidity. If you follow price, right, you will see that this always happens. Fair value gap and liquidity. It's always hunting liquidity, taking out stops. It's always coming back to fair value gaps into an order block itself and finding support of that, which gives us an opportunity for longs or shorts. And then you're looking for the next fair value gap as taking profits, you're front running in a way and looking for liquidity of the stops itself. So, one second, throat's dry, man. So that's that, right? So what I was looking at on Inge in particular was price is finding support off this, right? That's an order block. Price found resistance. When we come back down, we find resistance over here. We break down, we have this consolidation, breakout, retest, expansion into this area here, find resistance, and then the following month we smash above it. Then the second month we find support, third month we find support. So we'll find support. We got 3 days and 5 hours to go. Does it come back down over here? If it does, this doesn't look great. Then any pullbacks, then we're looking for shorts back into levels, liquidities and whatnot. Okay, but potentially speaking, I'm leaning on the bullish sides on Inge. So if I drop it down to the 4 hours, I've drawn this out. I'm gonna mark this actually because I'm already talking about it. All right. So yeah, you can see liquidity is resting up here. Let me just. That's about. So the blue box is the monthly breaker. So we're finding support. Until we lose this area here, it's support. Okay. We've got a trend line going on. So oopsie, there. Got that high there. Resistance. We've broken out of it. Hold support. So we're looking for any pullbacks, right? So any bullish price action, because look, bullish price action. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, making you higher highs. You see what I'm saying? So that's bullish price action. If and I've done a Fibonacci from this high to this low there, we've done the stop run, we find some deviation over there, come back up 25%. We're at the mid range, so naturally we are going to find some resistance. So do we come back over here, come back there? I'm quite happy to take a long like this, for example, right over here with a stop loss over there, playing it back into the mid-range. Once we hold above the mid-range, shows bullish price action, and we're taking out these highs. This is like the pivot right here. Take out the highs there, then it's target, off we go. And then we'll see what happens next. And that's all the trade for Inge, for the longs. So hopefully that helps. FUG, how do you find it? I would love to research it. And that is FVG, fair value gap. So a fair value gap is basically this, right? Let's get the whiteboard up. All right, so whiteboards hopefully doesn't blind your face there. I do apologize for that. So you got a candle here, right? So that's one candle there, and you got the body of the candle, you got a wick, and you got a wick. Okay, let's just say this was the open, that's the high, that's the low, and that's the close. Okay, oopsie daisy, low, and that's the close. Right. Now, the next candle you're looking for is seeing how it actually reacts. So let's say it goes down, further down, and then we have a wick over here. Same thing, nothing else. But what I want you to pay attention is the low over here. You see this low here? So we got all this. This is this body bit here that we like to see the next candle to fill out. Now, what happens is, if the next candle does this, right? Down over here, and it does something like this area here, you see this high from this candle there and this low over here, if you put a box over it from this high to this low, that's the fair value gap, which means price is going to try and come back in. Doesn't have to fill out the whole fair value gap, but it will try and come back in, and if it does, breaks down, it's a continuation. We fill out the fair value gap, continuation on the downside. You can put a stop loss here quite aggressively if you ask me as well. But that's what a fair value gap is, and that's how price is really addicted to that kind of stuff. Hopefully that helps out as well for you guys there. But that's pretty much it. For example, I'll give you I might as well just draw it out from here. Fair value gaps there. So on the downside, we got fair value gaps right over here. So look at this. This low over here to that high there, that's a fair value gap. You see how price comes back into the fair value gap there and then breaks down, find support off this level here, and then we trade through it. We find support off the fair value gap, and we're finding support off the fair value gap. This is actually, it's like an SR in its own way, in its own particular way, in its own world. It's finding support off the fair value gap. Look, it finds resistance here, we get above it, find support, find support, find support. Bullish price action, giving us, taking out these highs out there, making you higher highs. Well, like in terms of the market structure within this area over here. So that's how you could actually use a fair value gap to actually help predict what can actually be on your play of actually flipping it or being bearish there. So that's, hopefully that helps you, I guess. Cool. So, But yeah, anyway, whoopsie daisy. So that's that. That's freaking what you call it, Inge. Let's go back into BTC, right? Because we've got some work to do as well, and I do want to talk about BTC as a whole itself. Now, I've got this, right? Let me go back to the weekly, back into the range band environment, as we discussed right over here, right? So we talked about coming into here, breaking down. If it does break down and whatever, X, Y, and Z. Now, what could happen is if I delete this for a second, right? I'm quite happy for a pullback. You see this low over here? That was support. Support comes back there, resistance, deviation, resistance over here, we're breaking up again. If it's supposed to be bullish and we are above the monthly open, right, which is the one in purple, we're above the quarterly open, which is in green, that's bullish. Above the quarterly open, that's bullish. Below the quarterly open is bearish, right? Just like we found resistance over here. Let me zoom into it. Just like how we found resistance right into the quarterly open. And then start coming back down, taking out these lows there. And literally, we just find support off this low here. That's pretty much it. And then we push back up above the monthly open, above the quarterly open. So I'm okay if price wants to come back down, hold support. That's perfectly fine enough for me to say take out these. Well, that'll be a target there, and then potentially go into this high over here. That's a liquidity pool. So where's the liquidity? Is that high here? That's a liquidity right here that I'm very intrigued about, this high over here, because that's where liquidity is resting. This is what that means is that if you were shorting, if you're going to put a stop above a swing high to actually give yourself some clarity itself, some breathing space, this is where you're going to put it there. So there's definitely sell stops over here which we need to take out. And once we take this out, do we come back down or do we go back up? That's the next key thing that we need to figure out. So the plans are there. Hopefully that helps out there. I guess you know what, it means a lot that what you just said. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Big love thingy for you, man. Let me drink some water. 1 second there, guys. Cool. All right, bless. Now, if I'm okay with it coming back down, and also it's possible for it to go take out these highs there and take out liquidity there, let's make a plan. That's all we got to do, make a plan, because if we get back above, happy days, it's all good. And if we get back below, then we'll play again. Now, I've got this range band environment here. Right, what I've done here on the daily, I just wanted to highlight this. That's the low, and that's the high. Shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that. It should be this. Nope, I think I got it wrong. Yeah, it's definitely not that. It's this one over here. That's it. There we go. There we go. That changes perspective completely. One candle does it all. Just want you to zoom into it, and then you can see the whole thing. That's the low, and that's the high. All right. Just want to show this out there. You see how liquidity is resting? Takes out the low, comes back up, takes out the high, comes back down. It's still within the range itself. And once we lose this low there on the smaller time frame, it was bearish market structure. We lost this there. We came for a quick retest and then sells off there. That's your absolute confirmation for lower prices, and it didn't waste time there. So that's the range band environment, which is still in place as it is today. So nothing's really changed, but where I'll be right now, if we go back fast forward in where we are, we're at the mid-range. We found support at the mid-range. So if we're finding support at the mid-range, right, we're playing from low to mid to high. All we need to do, what's capping the market temporarily right now, is it's basically a daily high. This high here is the thing that's capping the market there. That's what's capping the market there. Now, if we lose, I'd say, well, we'll narrow it down in a bit as well. So for me to add the confidence for bullish play, is a close above here today would be great, or whenever it is, get a bullish price action, take out the highs, and then we can pull out to 32.1, which is the range high, and liquidity is at 32.4, and that's extended targets. That's it. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for anything more. I'm just looking for simple, easy targets. Now, I've got a bit of a day trade going on at this very moment in time, which I'm happy to share with you guys. Drop it down to the 15, oops, not 15 seconds. 15 minutes, where are you? There we go. So, I'm in this trade over here. What I've got here, I'll show you this. just to put it into perspective, what's going on is that we've got a high over here and a low over here. Swing low, swing high. We run these lows over there, we push up there, and literally this block over here is quite an interesting figure for me. If I actually draw a range bound environment from here to here, how does it look like? We're at the mid-range. So we're finding chop at the mid-range right here. So a bit tricky where we are right now. I'm going to have to bring my stops to break even, just to cover myself if anything were to go wrong. But you can see how price comes into the fair value gap. Whoopsie daisy. Let me delete this for a second. And delete that. There we go. Fuck. Sorry, guys. You see this? This is a fair value gap. So we are trading within the fair value gap. Can you see how we're actually bouncing up and down? Well, once we get back up, hold above this. This is now start to show us that, yep, we're going to go for liquidity over here. And once we take out these highs, then we'll see what's up. So, and then for higher price itself. So there's bullishness going on right now. Right now, in this very moment in time, it's showing us there's the support. Now, my thesis on the trade, right, really speaking, is this. This block here, right, let me highlight that and delete everything off. It's a last down candle right over here, which where we're finding support. And it plays quite a pivotal factor. So you can see how price finds support, comes back down, deviation, deviation, support, pushes up. Support, support. Once we lose this, resistance, 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 come back down, resistance, come back up, deviation, resistance, comes back up, and it breaks above it, support, support. Well, it can be support however long it wants to be. If it breaks down below here, then I have to agree that we're going to take out this low here, then we're going to go for this area here as target, and potentially take out the, well, we've already taken out these lows over here, then we're going to take out this low over here, this low over there. So that's how I will be looking for in terms of bearish plans. Let me just try and remove that. At least you guys can see it, and you can screenshot it or whatever, and quote me when it happens. Oopsie daisy, let me try and draw this out. Short-term bearish play, let it do its thing, come back down below, bearish price action, off we go, target, target, target. Easy targets there. Now I will talk about the going towards the quarterly open, which we discuss on the higher time frame in just a moment there. But I'm just looking at short-term plays. So I'm in a long. What I want to see is take out these highs there, and once we do so, then I can expect to take out this high, this liquidity, and this liquidity over here. Because again, fair value gaps. What is the fair value? There's one right here. You see that? Price has touched it right over here, sold off. We are coming towards this fair value gap there. So I need to see us reclaim above this fair value gap there, and then I can say, yeah, easy target into the next fair value gap. It's like a level to level play, as simple as that. And that's what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks, just playing fair value gaps, and I've been using that on a scalp and just making some silly money sometimes from time to time, making losses here and there, but that's trading for you. You know what it is. Like 2 weeks ago, last week wasn't a good week for me, but the first 2 weeks of June has been freaking good actually to me. So one bad week ain't gonna hurt me that much. This week, hopefully, we actually be a more cover up everything else and be profitable going forward there. So that's the bullish plan. That's all it comes down to. That's the plan. And then once we actually get back above this level here, right? Let me bring up the other chart. I think it's this one here. Where is it? Let me see. Yeah. Once we get, see this 36.5k, right? So we'll work it level to level. Let me just drop it down to the 4 hours actually. Yeah. You got all these fair value gaps over here, fair value gap there, and whatever. But let's work it level to level, right? Because this area here, this line over here, that's the 25% of the range, 36.5k. Hold above this, bullish price action, easy targets there, continuation, going up to these highs there. If we actually come back down, I'm happy to short this. I'm happy to short this. If we take out the liquidity, this is what I'm happy to do. Which I'm like, either way, either we break above and then we get to 30, whoopsie daisy. Well, either we break above and go to 36.5, that's 36.5k, or we do a deviation, come back up, let it do its thing. Once we step back down over here, this is the confirmation. I know this is my entry over here, stop loss there, where I'm targeting mid-range towards the quarterly open and the 28.1k level, which is the macro range low. And then we'll see what happens there. That's it. That's as pretty much as simple as that. So I'm ready for the breakout to the upside. I'm ready for the breakdown on the downside itself. Now, if I want to play a trade, looking for, if I'm gonna have to cut the trade and go for shorts, how would I do that? Literally is, well, this is where we're looking at, right? That's, whoopsie daisy. Here we go. So that's April's high. That's April's low. Done the deviation there. Quarterly opens over here, push back up to the mid-range to the range high, done the deviation there, finding resistance, so that's possible that it is going to break down, quite possibly, I don't know, but we'll figure it out anytime soon. If I want to look for shorts, what would I do? Drop it to the 1, let's see what we got, delete this, I don't need this no more. All I need to see is like how, like what can I do to find, what will increase my probability. Now, this will help me out. Looking for lower prices, remember as we discussed, coming back down over here, looking for shorts, playing it into this area here, potentially. Once we lose this low over here, let me just mark this out, and this low over here, that's when the doors open up. So that'll be a target there. If we find support, cut the rest of the trade, because we'll come back up. If we actually break down, what you're looking for is a breakdown over here, continuation of bearish market structure, go into the mid-range, continuation there, and then see how we go, break down over here into the quarterly open retest, and that's it, as simple as that. And here I'll be looking to see how we react. Do we hold above this level there, step back up, whatever the deviation is, take your longs, play it back into April's high. That's just pretty much it, and I'll be quite happy to spot buy over here as well. I'll be quite happy, personally speaking, but that's the plan there. Does that make sense, everybody? Hopefully it should. Now ETH, let's quickly touch on ETH now. ETH, right? Let's have a look where we are. Key important things I want to talk about, right? Is this. Let me change this color because this keeps bugging me out every single time I look at it. I'm gonna make it as red. Okay, cool. Bro, fucking hell. So, and this is the quarterly open. It shouldn't be pink. It should actually be green. Right here. That's it. So, that's April's high. That's April's low. Stop run, find support, pushes up there, we come back down, deviation, pushes up. We're above the quarterly open, above the monthly open, and this is where price is actually stuck at. It's stuck within this area here. So if we're playing from low to mid, I'm looking for the mid-range. Is there really any point for me to take a long with a stop loss here? No, not necessarily. If I'm going to go for a long right now, actually, to be honest, I'll have to say this is where my invalidation is. Looking to take out these highs over there, and then into the mid-range at 1950. But 1950, we have to be very cautious. If we actually hold above it, great. Play on the continuation, take out these highs over there, fill out the fair value gap there. Target 1, target 2, pushing into target 3, liquidity at April's high. And if ETH goes up, I can expect BTC going up as well. We're just at the mid range of April's range for Ethereum, and that range high for BTC. So it's at resistance on both sides, regardless what you want to say. It's just that ETH is giving me the more consensus for me to go up higher than Bitcoin. Am I right? We'll find out. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to actually flip bias there. I don't really want to see myself trading Ethereum myself, personally speaking. It's a bit of a tricky one in my opinion. I mean, one thing you can actually say to increase the probability, oopsie fucking daisy. One thing to increase probability is like this, right? You got a bit of a trend line there. Once you break above it, let's just look for targets to this mid-range over here. I'm just going to draw this mid-range and this range high. That's what I'm looking for, okay? Hide everything off there. April's mid, and April's high. April's high, okay? Let it do its thing. Hold above it, bullish price action. I can say, yeah, go into the April's mid. This is your confirmation. Let it do, get above April's mid. I'm happy to go for longs to go towards April's high. Pretty simple. That's your final confirmation. This is a trade there. It's going to get a bit of a chop of April's mid. Monthly end is coming up as well, so you want to be a bit more cautious going forward there. Hopefully that helps out there for Ethereum looking for longs itself. Now, what if I'm wrong? That's a possibility. What if I'm wrong and we don't even do that and we find resistance here and we start breaking down? Well, really and truly, what I'm looking for is you need to start look for like confirmations. Let me delete all this. You know what? Fuck this. Delete that. Break like that. There we go. Keep it nice and simple. Where's April's low? April's low is here. All right, so I'm going to mark this out. All right, I'm going to mark out the quarterly open, which is right here, as targets. That's the quarterly open. And I'm also going to mark out the monthly open. All right, that's that. Nice and simple. April's low, monthly open, quarterly open. There's levels here and there's levels here. Okay, hopefully you can already see what I'm trying to actually explain to you guys, but let's just break this down and how we're going to actually do this, right? So really and truly, right, once we get back below monthly open, right, let it do its thing. It's getting capped out. So if you look at where inefficiency is, we have actually traded the inefficiency right over here. Was that one? I don't think that was in one actually. But anyway, regardless, I'll be more concerned about this one. This is more my thing over here. The order block there. You see how we're actually finding resistance on the order block there? If we come back down, find support, I'm happy for it to go up. Short day trade over here. Take the longs there. Stop loss over here. Into this trade there. Once we break above it, continuation. Taking out these highs. Going into April's mid and whatnot. Now the bearish play is quite simple. All it is, right, is you let it do its thing. We're at resistance. You can say to you invalidations here. You can go for a stop loss here. If you want to keep it tight, it's above the blue box there. But do use like aggressive stops with caution as well. It does take a little while to practice this as well. It's not so easy. But let it do its thing. Once we break back down, if it comes back as a pullback, I'm looking for a short. That'll be my entry. Target over here onto the monthly open. The confirmation is getting back below the monthly open, looking for liquidity. And then the quarterly open. See, level to level. That's one level. And then if we hold support, right, let me delete that again. If we hold support at the quarterly open, I'm happy to go for longs. I like to see how BTC is. Is BTC at the quarterly open? If they're both at the quarterly open and they're showing bullish market structure, I'm down for longs on spot buying itself, personally speaking. But however, we also have to be reasonable and realistic as a trader and to understand that there's a possibility of it going back down. Once you lose this low here, that's your confirmation. Bearish market structure, continuation, playing it back into April's low. And that'll be another set playing within this area as it is. And that's as pretty much straightforward, as simple as that. Hopefully that helps out for all of you guys there looking for the longs and shorts on Ethereum. I'm leaning on the bullish sides on crypto itself. I do think 32.4k is going to happen really soon. Question is it quarterly open first? And then we're going to go for the thingy for the 32.4k liquidity level, or is it going to just rally the fuck up, take out the 32.4k level, then we figure out what's next? I'm not too sure. I'm not saying I'm going to go to 44k straight away. I'm just going to say I'm happy to go to 44k, but we got to play this level to level. That's it, guys. Hopefully that helps. Any questions before I head off? Fucking hell, my eyes are burning me, man. No, alright, cool, bless. I'm gonna head off. Catch you guys soon. Thank you so much for actually attending the show, and we will do another session on Thursday actually. So on Thursday itself, we look at doing alts itself. So I will be talking about Inch, and I will talk about a few other alts as well. So we'd like to hear what your views are, some of your alts that you're looking at, what you're looking to buy, and we can actually break it down and see what's going on there. Okay, so take care, everybody. Enjoy your day tomorrow. Eid Mubarak to all those who are celebrating Eid. If not, have a great Wednesday. Have the rest and have a great rest of the week. Bye, everybody.